Carlos, and like always, mi casa es tu casa. Come right in. Today's video is about my life the first year after my wife passed. I want to talk about my experiences and the things I had to learn and relearn. But before we go on, notice my t-shirts, 1941. That's the year I was born. It's also the year of the Jeep. So let's go in the back and talk some more. Come right through my house. Watch the palm tree. It's fake. Oh, by the way, I want to show you this. This was my birthday present from my son Adrian. And if you notice the little cushion there, this is my happy place. I spend a lot of time here reflecting, reading my Bible, and praying. So let's go outside. Not springtime yet, but it's coming. So things don't look as well as they will later on in the summer. It's a beautiful day today, so I want to sit outside and talk to you. Now that I'm 80 years old, I want to read this poem to you. By the way, this was written by Frank Holbach. Once you reach 80, everyone wants to carry your baggage and help you up the steps. If you forget your name or anybody else's name or an appointment or your own telephone number or promise to be 3 places at the same time or can't remember how many grandchildren you have, you need only to explain that you are 80. Being 80 is a lot better than being 70. At 70, people are mad at you for everything. At 80, you have a perfect excuse, no matter what you do. If you act foolishly, it's your second childhood. Everybody is looking for symptoms of softening of the brain. Being 70 is no fun at all. At that age, they expect you to retire to a house in Florida and complain about your arthritis and ask everybody to stop mumbling because you can't understand them. If you survive until you're 80, everybody is surprised that you're still alive. They treat you with respect just for having lived so long. Actually, they seem surprised that you can walk and talk sensibly. By the way, we're outside and the gnats are attacking my granddaughter. She is my videography, my production manager, my director, my editor, my sound person, my lighting person, and she's the life of my heart. So let's just get going, okay? Let's see how far we can get outside before the gnats get too bad. So we're sitting inside in my living room. Now I want to continue talking. In 2018, my wife and I were in Europe visiting our daughter in Spain. And towards the end of December and beginning of January, she was not feeling well at all. We went to a doctor in Spain and he gave her some medicine and that did not help. So we decided it was best that we come back to the States and go to her doctor here. And that's what we did. So early January, we came back to the States, went to the doctor, they sent her for CT scan, and then we got the report that she had ovarian cancer. And that was a shock because my wife had never been sick in her life. She did not have anything wrong with her before that. No blood pressure or no high blood pressure, no diabetes, no cholesterol, nothing. She took no pills whatsoever. So that was a shock. did a lot of praying and decided that was in God's hand. So we went to the oncologist, and the oncologist told us that this could be a problem, but they felt that she could get over that. So we started radiation treatments, and she only had one treatment before she really got very sick. Went to the hospital and was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and then we had a conference with my children, my sister-in-law, and I in the room with the doctor, and he told us that my wife was dying. My world stopped. How else can I say it? Hearing those words, she's dying. Never in my life did I expect that. And so I decided I wanted to bring her home. Her last few days would be in my house, our house. And that's what we did. We contacted hospice. Hospice came in and brought the bed and brought the equipment that needed it. And we brought Mary home. Family started to come in. Friends were coming in. Food was coming in. It was just amazing how people responded to our situation. Mary was in my house for about a week and a half, and then she died. Family was here, friends were here that night. She died February 23rd. My 79th birthday was going to be February 28th. But that Saturday, before she died, with so much family here, they decided to sing happy birthday to me and leave the door open of my wife's bedroom so that she could hear that they were celebrating my birthday. That was a happy moment under a lot of stress. While she was here, many people came to pray over her, to anoint her, to talk to her. We had music going, her favorite music going. And then it happened. It was like 10 o'clock at night on that day, on the 23rd. We call the funeral home to come and take the body. But before they did, I asked my daughters, my granddaughter, my nieces, my friends, to go in the room and prepare the body. Anoint her, bless her, pray over her, and dress her with the best pajamas that she had. And then I waited for them to be ready. The people were already here to pick up the body. They went in, and then as they were coming out, I had the family and friends line up the hallway in my house. And my wife left right between family and friends, and she was taken out.
It was actually right behind you, wasn't it? It was like she came out there and she went out that way.
It was the saddest moment for my two daughters, my son and I, and the whole family. How could this be? How could a perfectly healthy person, full of life, went so soon? But it's God's will, not what I wanted, not my will. My will was for her to live, to go on, give me 10 more years. But that didn't happen. Little did I know what I had to go through for the next year. After the funeral, by the way, we had 300 people at the funeral. We had a very nice reception, and it was a nice time, but a sad time.
Somebody accepted Jesus. Maybe there was a salvation.
Right, you're right, Alina.
Yeah.
And so then my new life began. Some people stay with me. My children were here. But little by little, everybody had to go home and take care of their needs. And then I was in this house by myself. And I realized that it was the first time that I'd been alone for 54 years. You see, I grew up in a regular house with father and my mother, the children, no, I'm sorry, not children. One of my brothers lived there. The other two had already gone on. But my grandmother lived with us. My other brother and sister would visit once in a while with their family. But that's the way I grew up. And then when I was 14, my parents sent me to the States to study English. So I lived with my sister, her husband, and children in California. And then later on, I lived with my brother, his wife, and children in Washington, D.C. And I graduated from high school in Suitland, Maryland, which is just outside of Washington, D.C., in Prince George's County, Maryland, in 1960. And then from there, I went back to Puerto Rico, back to living with my parents, and did my 4 years of college. I also joined the ROTC at that time. So I was getting a degree in science. At the same time, I was going to get my bars as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. So right after graduation, my wife and I got married in September of 1964. And we started our life as a married couple. And so I never had a chance to live alone until 54 years later. For those of you who have lived alone your whole life or part of your life, you're used to it and you know how to handle many, many things. But I didn't. I knew how to handle finances because I did finances most of the time. I knew how to cook, but there were a lot of details I did not know. Cleaning house, well, I knew how to clean house, but most of the time my wife did it. I just helped here and there. And so my life began. I looked around my house and I could not believe that my wife was not here. I expected her to come from the outside because she was gardening or tending to the flowers. Or she came in from the garage because she went to the store to buy something. Or she was just outside talking to a neighbor and would come in any moment. But that didn't happen. So that was a reality that I had to get used to, that she was not coming back through any door back to me, except spiritually. I had many ups and downs during that time. That first year was hard. I missed her every day, every moment. I would play the songs that she liked. While I was doing some cooking, I always had music while I cooked. And Mary was by my side when I was a cook. And if there was any salsa playing, that's when I would ask her to dance with me right around the kitchen. We would dance from one end to the other around the kitchen. And and enjoy ourselves what I cooked. And I missed that. You know, so I would cook listening to music with tears rolling down my eyes because it was a sad moment. But also, it was a fantastic time because I knew my wife had gone to heaven. And isn't that what we all want? Isn't that what we all strive for? To know that when we die, we have eternal life with our Father. So that was joyous for me to know where she was. Too soon, but that was God's will. And so I started day to day trying to do the mundane things. Washing clothes, folding clothes, putting them away. By the way, I never knew how to fold the fitted sheet of the bed. My grandson is here, so if you heard him laughing, that doggone things are a challenge for any man to come up and try to fold that thing so that it looks decent. My wife could do it just like that. Mary would take that thing, and I remember she would go. That's it. It took me forever to get it to a decent point. 2 years later, I still don't know exactly how to do it. I know, I've been told, my two daughters have told me, you take this corner and you put it under this corner, and then you take those two corners and you flip it around and put it in the other corner, and then you fold this part, you fold this part, you fold, fold, fold. Well, I failed so many times with that folding and folding and folding. But I've gotten much better. I won't show them to you, but they're not too bad. But that really got to me.
I won't show them, but I promise they look.
That was one of my challenges. It's a mundane thing, you know. Here's another one. Once in a while, I would leave a shirt or my shoes in the living room or in the bedroom on a chair, and they would be gone when Mary was here. She would either put him in the closet or fold them and put it away or put it in a drawer or put it in to be washed. With her not being here, whatever shirt I left on a chair or my shoes in the living room, they stay there. Go by every day, they're still there. No one is going to come to my house and pick them up and put them away. So I had to get to do that on my own. To be able to just pick up my clothes and put them away. Pick up anything I left and put it in its place. Because no one was going to come and do it for me. And then the other one was getting used to cooking. Mary did daily cooking. So then I had to take over. And it's not easy to cook for one. So that was a challenge for me. What can I cook for one? If I made something at the beginning, I made too much. So I ate the same thing for 3 days. I mean, you get tired of that. So I decided not to cook and just have a breakfast or a lunch, no dinner, and then just have a happy hour, cheese and crackers and wine for dinner. And that solved my problem for a while. I didn't have to eat the same thing 3 times in a row. But let me tell you, the nights at the beginning were very lonely. And How many times did I reach out to my wife's side, looking for her, wanting her to be there, wanting her warm so she could warm my cold feet. Or me warm her, and that didn't happen. How many times I fell asleep crying because she wasn't by me. I had to get used to that. Another thing that I had to deal with was her personal things. All her clothing and shoes and jewelry. And I did that with the help of my 2 daughters. We went through the clothes and all that. Some people wanted a special blouse or a scarf, some of those things, a jacket. I kept 3 blouses. My wife's favorite 3 blouses. They hang in my closet with the rest of my clothes. That was another thing I had to deal with. The jewelry, Mary had written a paper explaining who would get what, and that's what we follow. Between my daughter Angeles, my daughter Maria, and my son Adrian, we divided all the jewelry. And then I pass on some to my nieces and some cousins. And that took care of those things. The other thing I did, I didn't have pictures of my wife, so I went through and found pictures of my wife to put in the bedroom, in the living room, in the kitchen. And you know, this is my favorite picture of my wife, is right here on the kitchen.
I was like, where is it? Oh yeah. Okay.
And so every morning that first year, I come in and say, "Good morning, Mary. What are we cooking today?" And go on with my life. But there were happy moments during that first year. The most happy moment of that year was the birth of my 6th grandchild, a daughter born to my son Adrian and his wife Viviana. She was born May 26, 3 months after my wife died. Unfortunately, that's also a sad moment. She always wanted to see my son with a family. And although she knew she had a baby girl, granddaughter coming, she did not live to see her. But I did, and I still do. She'll be 2 years old here this year in May. You'll hear some background music, and that's coming from my grandson, John. So where were we? Yes, happy and sad moments. The house, what to do. The first thing I thought is, I'm not going to do any major changes in my life for a year. I'm going to stay put in my house for a year and then decide what I'm going to do after that. So once I got used to doing laundry, ironing if I had to, cleaning the house, doing the shopping, taking care of mundane things in the house, started, a routine every day. And did my prayers in the morning, read my Bible, and then started my day. Sometimes I was full of energy and wanted to do all kinds of things. Other times I just wanted to sit and just relax, listen to music, read or pray. So that first year, it was a year of firsts. It was the first time that I celebrated my birthday without my wife. It was the first time that Mother's Day came and she wasn't here. It was the first time that Thanksgiving came and she wasn't at the table. It was the first time that Christmas came and she wasn't here. And there was the first time, January 25th of 2020, that she wasn't here. So it was a year of first time for everything. And something that I had to get used to. Now the second year had been not so hard for me, but I've had more ups and downs. And so I want to leave it at that right now. And I just want to thank you for listening to me, being in my house with me, crying with me, laughing with me. But I promise you that the segment on the second year is a happier one. So until the next time, so long.